This is a quick tutorial to get you started with the first set of notebooks, that is tutorial 1. You want to navigate to the Machine Learning Tutorials repository on the UCL AI Society GitHub. Once you're on this page, you can click on the code button, navigate to the HTTPS tab, and click on the little clipboard to copy this address here. Then you want to download GitHub Desktop, which you can do by navigating to this web page and clicking this download button. Once you've installed that, it should look something like this. You want to click on Clone a repository from the internet, select the URL tab, paste the URL, and select a local path somewhere on your desktop for reasons that will become apparent in a bit. You click on Clone, and you know that you've been successful when you see the no local changes text up here. Next, you want to download Anaconda, which you can find by navigating here, clicking on Products, Individual Edition, Download, and selecting the appropriate installer, which is going to be the 64-bit graphical installer for Windows. Once that's downloaded and installed, it should look something like this. And you want to click on the Jupyter Notebook launch button. That should automatically open a tab that has the desktop folder on there. You want to navigate on AI SOC, machine learning tutorials, notebooks, and you get a set of 4 notes. The first notebook is the NumPy one, and if you click there, you should be presented with a list of what are called cells that you can start reading and executing.
Okay, now I'll demonstrate a different setup method. This time I'm going to use Git command line interface rather than Git desktop application. And I'm going to make my own Python virtual environment without using Anaconda. Also, because the previous setup video was on Windows OS, this time it'll be done on the macOS. And by the way, using GitHub is highly recommended because you can pull my changes for the following tutorials. If you already know how to use Git and comfortable with running Jupyter Notebook in Python virtual environment, you can actually skip this video and go straight into solving our notebooks. So let's go to github.com/UCLAIS. Here you'll see a machine learning tutorials repository. Click code, copy the HTTPS. Open your terminal. You can go to your working directory. For me, it's setup video. In your working directory, type git clone and paste the link. Okay. Let's open up the Finder and go to setup video. You'll see the machine learning tutorials is copied, cloned on your working directory. Here you'll see all the files right here. And to run these IPyNB files, you need to install Jupyter Notebook. And previously you saw how to run it by Anaconda, but this time let's try to make our own virtual environment. So virtual environment is really famous, especially for Python developers, I think, because PIP supports a Python virtual environment tool. VE is a tool to keep the dependencies and libraries required by different projects in a separate space. So usually you set up a virtual environment for specific projects that needs specific dependencies. So for example, in this AIS machine learning tutorials, you might need some specific dependencies or separate space. So we're making a VE. So go to your home directory. Just to check, type Python 3 version. If you see Python 3 point something, it's great. If you don't have Python 3, please install Python 3. And then type sudo pip3 install -u virtual env. Type your password and it will install the virtual env. And then in my case, I'm going to name my environment AI SOC. So you can choose whatever name you want. So I'm going to type virtual -system site packages -p Python 3 AI SOC for me. Oops, I'm sorry. It should be virtual env. Okay. Now let's check our Finder. If you go to your home directory, you will see a directory called AI SOC, which is your virtual environment. And in the bin directory, you'll see a script called activate. Right? So this is the key to activate your virtual environment. So let's try to activate this. Okay. So to activate, you need to do source and your name. For me, it's AI SOC /bin activate. Now you see this one, AI SOC. So your AI SOC virtual environment is activated. To deactivate, you just type deactivate, right? So let's activate. Let's download some dependencies, maybe pip install numpy. I already have it. And for notebook, you should type pip install notebook. You see that in your bin file, something is created, which is your notebook execution files. Okay, now that we have notebook, let's go to our machine learning tutorial. Here, type Jupyter Notebook. Done. Now you can open up your Jupyter Notebook files in a separate environment. Plus, if you don't want to use Jupyter Notebook or virtual environment at all, you can just use Google Colab, which is a service provided by Google. It's a wonderful service. By just drag and drop, you can put your files into your drive like this. Let's wait for a few seconds. Okay. And here you'll see a very similar environment to Jupyter Notebook. If you just open with Google Collaboratory, you can see this. You can run these cells without any problems. Great. I hope you enjoy our code.